Welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving straight into a really fascinating educational framework from the Smart Academy designed specifically for 8th graders. It takes the traditional, honestly sometimes boring book report and totally transforms it into what they call a godly book talk. It completely flips the idea of reading as just a chore or a little box for a teacher to check off. Instead, we're going to look at how this curriculum actually teaches students to turn their reading experience into a really exciting presentation that genuinely connects with their classmates.
Now, before we even touch on the practical how-tos, the curriculum grounds its entire approach in Scripture. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up." The source material uses this to teach students that the ultimate goal of sharing a presentation, even if you're just talking about a novel you read over the weekend, is to encourage your peers. They aren't just up there summarizing plots. The material heavily emphasizes using these reading experiences to build up the classroom community and support one another.
All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the power of book talks, move right into crafting your presentation, and then go over some pro tips and examples. After that, we'll do a quick knowledge check, discuss morality and reading choices, and wrap it all up with education with true purpose.
Let's jump into Section 1, the power of book talks. So, what exactly is a book talk? Well, the framework defines it as a short, enthusiastic presentation. And notice that huge emphasis on enthusiasm. This isn't about students standing at the front of the room monotonously listing off characters just to prove they did their homework. It's actually framed as a performance to generate genuine excitement among peers. The goal? To make classmates think they literally need to run to the library and check that specific book out today.
Now, why does all of this actually matter? The curriculum outlines several crucial benefits. Talking about books allows students to share their unique insights and recommend genuinely good reads to their friends. Plus, listening to others helps them learn from totally different perspectives. This whole process actively builds communication and public speaking skills. And importantly, it makes reading a social event rather than an isolated, lonely task. Finally, discussing books with peers introduces students to genres and authors they might never have tried on their own, which really deepens their overall understanding of literature.
Let's shift gears to Section 2. Crafting your presentation.
Here is the framework's foolproof 4-step game plan for putting these talks together. First, students must clearly state the basics, so that sharing the title, author, and genre so everyone knows exactly what we're talking about. Second, they offer a super quick summary to set the stage. Third, they explain why they liked it. This is where that personal enthusiasm is meant to shine, as they share their absolute favorite parts. And finally, step 4 involves identifying who in the audience would love the book, suggesting specific classmates to build a really direct connection.
Moving right along to Section 3, Pro Tips and Examples. You've got to grab your audience right out of the gate. The text suggests using highly energetic opening lines, something like, "As soon as I read the first chapter, I couldn't put this mystery down." It encourages students to set an energetic tone immediately. No slumping shoulders, no boring, "I read a book" intros. Instead, they are taught to express exactly how the story made them feel right from the very first sentence. Here is a vital rule highlighted in this module. You want to keep curiosity alive by sharing only the first main conflict. Whatever you do, absolutely avoid those major spoilers that ruin the ending. For instance, if a student is presenting a mystery, they're advised to describe the crime and mention the detective, but never, ever reveal who the bad guy is. The whole goal is to provide a compelling hook, letting the audience go find the resolution themselves. And here's another great pro tip the curriculum offers. Get your classmates involved. You can do this through direct questions, like asking, "What's the last book that kept you up past bedtime?" Throwing a direct question out there during the presentation is designed to spark discussion, encourage participation, and just make the whole experience highly interactive by inviting the classroom right into the conversation. Okay, Section 4. Quick knowledge check. The curriculum includes a quick review right here to really reinforce these tools. It asks students to recall those 3 main inclusion criteria we talked about, the sheer importance of avoiding spoilers to keep curiosity alive, and how to craft those engaging openings. It also reviews engaging listeners using questions, and most uniquely, it asks students to confidently tie this whole exercise back to that scripture from 1 Thessalonians, ensuring they remember the underlying purpose of encouraging each other.
Let's head into Section 5, Morality and Reading Choices.
This is where the lesson takes those practical presentation skills and elevates them to a moral plane. It uses Philippians 4:8 as the ultimate standard for selecting reading materials. It reads, "Think on what is true, noble, right,
pure, lovely, and admirable. The curriculum challenges students to fill their minds with things that elevate them. So rather than just wandering the library looking for mere entertainment, they are instructed to actively seek out stories that align with these specific virtues.
Because students wield real influence over their peers during these talks, the curriculum explicitly directs them to make kind recommendations and to deliberately avoid stories that glorify harmful behaviors. When standing up to give a book talk, the student is acting as a recommender. So that platform is intended to be used strictly to build others up with positive, enriching literature that reflects their moral standards.
Finally, Section 6, Education with True Purpose. This brings us to a foundational concept of the HeroesMart Academy series, education plus biblical morality. The material posits that education without morality is inherently harmful. It asks students to pause and consider, what is the point of being highly educated and getting straight A's if you just continue to make bad choices that hurt yourself and the people around you? It argues that while knowledge gives students tools, it's biblical morality that provides the wisdom to use those tools for good.
The lesson points to an incredible reward for this approach. Citing Romans 8:6-7, the source material states that keeping one's mind focused on spiritual truths, even in everyday, simple classroom tasks like picking out a book and delivering a book talk, secures the promise of true peace of mind. In this curriculum, that peace of mind is positioned as the ultimate goal for the students.
It really is a fascinating look at how a simple reading assignment can be completely transformed into a framework for character building within this specific educational system. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought today. Whether you are an 8th grader looking at a curriculum or a lifelong learner, how often do we ensure that the education and information we consume are actually guided by a deeper moral purpose?